Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha Shir on Sefer Netivot Shalom. We read a double portion this week of Behar Bechukotai. In the beginning of Parashat Bechukotai, Torah describes not the curses which come later in extensive detail, but the brachos that are promised to the Jewish people if they follow in the ways of Hashem, in Bechukotai Telechu. And the end of the section of the brachos, which describes many beautiful material blessings that will come upon the Jewish people if we follow in the ways that Hashem set out for us. The Torah ends that section with saying, "V'natati mishkani b'tochechem," I will put my sanctuary amongst you. "V'lo tigal nafshi etchem," my soul will not find disgust in you. It won't spit you out. "V'talachti b'tochechem," and I will walk amongst you. "Va'iti lachem Elokim," and I will be your God. Very complicated pasuk, albeit a beautiful pasuk, promising us a closeness of relationship with God on many different levels. It's hard to understand many things about this pasuk. Rashi explains, what does "V'hitalachti b'tochechem" mean? What does it mean that God will walk amongst us? I think that's the primary question in our mind. What does it mean that God walks? What does it mean that God walks amongst human beings? So Rashi says, "Hitalachti b'tochechem, atayel etchem, atayel imachem began Eden, ke'echad mikem, velo tiyu mizdazim mimeni." I will walk alongside you in Gan Eden, like one of you, and you won't tremble before me. And Rashi says, "Yachol lo tiru mimeni." It's possible that not trembling means you won't fear God. Impossible. Even if God walks amongst you, even if you don't fear God or stand in trepidation of God, you still have to have a yira, some type of awe of God. Talmud Lovmar, the end of the pasuk says, "V'hayiti lachem Elokim." Now, I will still be your Elokim. Elokim in the language of din, in the language of distance. There will always be a distance between us and Hashem, even in the closest of moments when God supposedly walks amongst us. Many questions arise on this pasuk. Netivot Shalom asks three. V'yesh levar mahen hamadregos shemonekan shelo hiyu bizdazim aval hiyu yireim. Says, what exactly is this middle ground that Rashi carves out? What is the emotion that will be at the center of this posture where we won't be mizdazeh, we won't be shaking, but we will be yireim, we will be in awe or fear of God? What is that middle ground between shaking and yira? Question number one. Question number two. Ken yesh levar. We also have to clarify. Ha'inyan sheparsha zo mitchila matchelas bebrachos binyanim gashmiyim. We have to understand why the whole promise of great reward for keeping the mitzvahs of Hashem begins in this parsha with physical rewards, with bounty in the physical world. I'll give you your rain in their season. Shalom, I'll have peace in the land. You'll eat very old grain, which is going to last you a long time. And only then, after describing all those physical blessings, does the parsha end with the final reward, which is the spiritual one. Mistayemet bebrachot ruchniot. In the end, we read about the spiritual blessing. God is going to place His sanctuary amongst us. He's going to dwell amongst us. It seems like the reverse order. The primary blessing of keeping God's laws should be the spiritual one, not the physical one. Ma hamashmaus bazeh. What can we learn from the order of these brachos? That's question number two. Question number three. It's actually a question that all the Mefarshim ask on this parsha, and it's a broader question than simply looking at the psukim that we've been talking about. The question is, what's the inyan of all the brachos that are promised to us in Parshas Bechukotai? The Hare Kaimalan Schar Mitzvah B'hai Amaleka. We hold that there is no reward for mitzvahs in this world. Achen hatam bazeh d'schar mitzvah b'hai Amaleka b'pnei sheyesh b'schar reisa k'mamar kasav vayishman yishrun vayivat. Well, there is no such thing as reward for mitzvahs in this world. So how does the whole parsha describe reward? Well, first let's understand why there's no such thing as reward for mitzvahs in this world. The Torah believes that if we give mitzvah reward to people in this world, that they're going to become fat and then eventually abandon the mitzvahs. Vayishman yishrum vayivat. Become so fattened, metaphorically speaking, become so relaxed and so satiated and so content that we'll never want to grow, we'll never want to become better in our mitzvahs, and we'll abandon the whole enterprise. The kol hashpas rov bracha alul lavi levayishman v'yishrum vayivat. The more and more brachos we receive, the more reward we receive in this world, the more we're going to rest on our laurels and sit back and not grow anymore. It says in other places in the Torah as well, Pentocha v'savato v'atim tovim tivneh v'yashavta v'ramla v'cha v'shachachta. Hashem Elokecha, Moshe Rabbeinu was very worried. We're going to go into the land of Israel. We're going to eat. We're going to be satiated. We're going to build homes. We're going to plant fields. We're going to do everything that we want to do. And then we're going to sit down. V'ramla v'cha v'shachachta Hashem Elokecha. Our heart will become so high. We'll become so haughty, so lofty, so proud of ourselves, so confident in ourselves. We're going to forget Hashem. That's the classic formula that the Torah ascribes to. So how could it be that our Parsha goes against that grain and promises a physical reward for following the mitzvahs? So he starts by answering this question, which I think is a fascinating answer. V'zeh shemafticha Torah Parsha zoim Bechukotai teilechu kirtzonu yisbarach az yashpi alachem HaKadosh Baruch Hu shefa bracha begashmius Shelo yavi levishman yishrun veivat. No, we got it all wrong. The brachos of this parsha are not simply promising us physical reward in this world, because that's dangerous. That's something the Torah always shies away from. Mitzvah, schar mitzvah b'hai amaleka. There is no such thing as a reward in this world. What the bracha of this parsha is a bracha within a bracha. The bracha of this parsha is that God, if we follow in His ways so devotedly, God will not only reward us physically in this world, but He will ensure that the rewards that He gives us physically in this world will not detract from our spirituality. They'll never lead to a situation of Vayishman, Yishrun, Vayivat. They'll never take us away from Hashem. They'll never make us overconfident. That's the bracha, that will not only get the physical reward, but it'll be a physical reward with a spiritual reward latent within it, the promise that we'll never become so spoiled by these brachos that we'll move away from our pathway of following in Hashem's ways. Elahiyeh bracha gemura. The brachos that we're going to get are the bracha gemura, the complete blessing. Vatavo mitoch kach lemadregus ruchnias hagvos beyoser. Through this, the ability to take physicality in the world and be able to use it for positive spiritual energy rather than detracting from spiritual energy, well then, with that, we reach the greatest levels of spiritual achievement. V'zehu, that's what our parsha means. V'natati gishmechem b'itam v'natata shalom ba'aretz shekol zeh yerak lebracha liskar ve'zeh ayidei zeh la'Hashem yisbarach ad v'natati mishkeni betochem v'talachti betochem sheta'el et imachem b'gan Eden. Now he answers the second question. Second question he asked is about the order of the brachos. Why start with physical blessings and then end with the spiritual blessings? Well, now we understand it. Physical blessings are usually a dangerous thing because they detract from our spirituality. But the blessings in this parsha that are physical are latent within those physical blessings is a spiritual blessing as well. That those blessings will not cause us to detract from our spirituality. In fact, they will help us grow in our spirituality, so that of course, as you go through the progression, the final bracha is v'hitalachti b'tochachem, that God will walk amongst us. We will be on such a high spiritual level because of our toil and mitzvahs, because of our dedication, because of the physical reward that we receive that helps to bolster that spirituality. We'll continue to climb the ladder until we are so high that we reach that final spiritual blessing of being close to Hashem. That's why the order of the parsha is in that way. On the surface, it looks reversed. The greatest reward for mitzvahs should be a spiritual reward. That should come first, and the physical should be second. But no, he says, or the physical shouldn't exist at all, because usually in the Torah, physical blessing is a danger to us, and danger to our spirituality. But no, says Netivot Shalom. This parsha is reinforcing to us that the brachos that are promised to us if we truly follow in the ways of Hashem are physical blessings that will help us spiritually, that will raise us spiritually, that will help us to reach the highest madrega of blessing, which is the spiritual blessing stated last in our parsha. He explains, based on the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, that perhaps this approach to our parsha can help us to also understand the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Mishnah says, Kach darcha shel Torah, pas b'melech tochal, mayim mishra tishtev, ha'aretz tishan v'chayetzar tichyeh, u'betorah ata amel. That a person who really toils in Torah should be able to live a life of pat b'melech tochal, of eating a little bit of bread dipped in salt, nothing fancy, nothing special. They should sit on the ground, they should suffer all they can to have that toil in Torah. Imata osechen ashrecha v'tov lach. If you're able to do that, more power to you. You will be truly happy. Ashrecha ba'olam hazeh v'tov lach l'olam haba. You'll have happiness in this world, and you'll have happiness in the world to come. The kasha. There's a question on this Mishnah, says Netivot Shalom. Mahu ashrecha b'olam hazeh? We understand how if you toil and you impoverish yourself and you sit on the floor and you eat papim melech tochal and you have amelis and Torah all your life, that fine, ashrecha, you'll have a great reward in the world to come. But how could the Mishnah of us claim that you also have a reward in this world? That's not a reward. What kind of reward is it? Is it to suffer? To suffer through papim melech tochal? That doesn't make any sense. So he says here, we can answer in the same way. Kach darka shel Torah hainu sheim tikne es kinyan haTorah b'pnimius hanefesh ad shepasvim melech tochal v'atam ushar im haTorah v'eincha tzarich od leklum lo lecho v'lo lishtos. If you become so entrenched in Torah and you toil so much in Torah and so attached to the spirituality of the world that physicality means nothing to you, that you could in fact survive with pat b'melech tochal, with nothing but a little bit of bread and salt. Az afilu im ashrecha b'olam hazeh shenishpa lecha shefa elyon v'yesh lecha kol tov b'olam hazeh yeh gam ken tov lecha l'olam haba. If you're on that level, that you are so connected to spirituality in this world, then even if ashrecha b'olam hazeh, even if you do receive physical reward in this world, it won't detract you from your spirituality. It'll bolster your spirituality, and if that's the case, you'll reach the next level of ashrecha l'olam haba, of still receiving your reward in the world to come, rather than vayishman yeshurun vayivat, rather than the physical detracting from the spiritual and taking away your reward from the world to come. As he explains this beautiful bracha, not only of the Bechukotai, of the Tochacha, but also of the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. He then goes on to explain the final question. What exactly does it mean to have various levels of walking closely with God? Of not shaking, but yes, fearing. What does that mean? He says there are different levels of Yiras Hashem that a person could reach, different levels of fear of God. Yesh yira shel mizdazi mimeni. There is fear where it causes you to shake from the person. Yira mipachad Hashem. That's a yira about fear of God. Asher yira zo eino yachol lios biyachad im ha'ava. She'im yesh yira ein ha'ava. U'bechinas v'asal debechila. This kind of yira is mutually exclusive with ahava, with love. It's a yira purely of fear, of shaking, of trembling, of being scared. And that's not the type of feeling you have when you have love. Those are two mutually exclusive feelings. Ach yesh yira machmas ahava. There's another kind of yira, a yira that is born out of ahava, an awe that is born out of love. K'mo shekasa b'yesod ha'avoda, shemegodel ha'ava l'Hashem yisparach, harei chas v'yareh melavor neged ritzon Hashem, pen tipagem al yedei zeh ha'ava, v'yisrachek me'Hashem yisparach. You could have such a strong love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you fear doing any wrong in His eyes, for fear of alienating yourself from Him, for fear of damaging the relationship, for fear of damaging the ahava, the love that already exists. So madrega gavoa biyoseh. That's the highest level of yira, which includes both the chilu v'rechimu ke'echad, both the ahava and the yira as one, both the awe, fear, and the love as one package. That it's not mutually exclusive, but one is born actually out of the other, and one helps to foster the other. Echad misayeh l'sheni she'yira machmas ahava. One helps the other, one complements the other. They grow together as one unit, ahava and yira. He says that's the meaning of the hitalachti b'tochachem, that God will walk amongst us as if we're in Gan Eden. Bechinas yichud kutshabrichu v'Yisrael shihamadrega elyona shel ahava. The union of God and people, symbolized by the image of us walking with God together in Gan Eden, is indicative of a relationship of the utmost ahava, the highest relationship of ahava. And therefore it says, if you have that relationship where I'll be walking amongst you as if we're in Gan Eden, you won't be shaking. Lo tiyu mizdazim. It's not the kind of fear. You will have fear. Ani Hashem Elokechem. You will have fear. Yachol lo yizuru mimeni, says Rashi, Talmud Lomar, Ani Hashem Elokechem. That I am still going to be your God. Haiti lachem lokim. I'm sorry. That I am still the God of judgment. You still have yira. So Netivot Shalom says, how do you still have yira if you're walking with God as if you're in Gan Eden? There's no fear. There's no shaking. How do you have yira? So Netivot Shalom says, with our whole understanding of this mahalach in the parsha, we can understand very, very well how that exists, how that coexists. Because walking together with God in Gan Eden is the ultimate form of ahava. And if you have that highest level of ahava, then born out of that ahava is a yiras Hashem of sorts, not a yira of shaking and of fear and of being scared of God, but a yira of awe in which you never want to do wrong, in which you never want to take yourself away from a Kadosh Baruch Hu in any way, shape, or fashion. That is the promise of the Parsha. If, just to go over all of the answers together as one unit and how we would read this Parsha, Parsha opens, Bechukotai telechu. If you follow in my ways with the utmost dedication to the mitzvahs and the pathway that Kadosh Baruch Hu told you, then you'll get rewarded in this world. What will your reward start as? It'll start as physical bounty. God's going to give you rain in its time, and your crops are going to grow, and you're going to have Shalom ba'aretz, and you're going to have so much grain that you're going to have 3 years worth of grain in storage, and nothing's going to go bad. Physical blessing. Normally, that physical blessing would detract you from spirituality, but latent within this physical blessing is a special bracha. A special bracha that the physicality of those blessings, of those rewards, will not detract you, but bolster you in your spirituality, help you to rise higher. And if you continue to rise, you reach the final level of the Parsha, where you receive not the physical reward, but the spiritual reward of God walking amongst us. And Rashi explains that physical reward with the image of us walking next to God in Gan Eden, because that symbolizes the greatest level of a relationship, as if we're in the most idyllic setting, walking hand in hand next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a symbol and a description of the highest form of love that we can reach for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if we reach that level of love, as Rashi says, we're not going to tremble in fear of God. We're going to have an yiras Hashem that emerges out of the ahava, a yira not of shaking in our boots because God is there and we're so upset because we don't want to do anything wrong, but a love of God so strong that will say, we never want to disappoint, we never want to detract, we never want to take away from this relationship. I just want to continue to do good. An awe rather than a fear. And if we could do that, hopefully we can continue to utilize those brachos to strengthen us, to come closer to Hashem, and to realize all the positive blessings of our Parsha. Shabbat Shalom.